What if we just collectively stopped tipping? The tipping culture in America is getting out of hand and, quite frankly, ridiculous. I know this is highly unlikely, but what if we just refused to tip? Ever wonder how long it would take before the workers demanded change in their salaries? What you want, I think, is a boycott. Failing to tip will only hurt workers. Failing to go to restaurants until they pay their staff may result in some kind of change. Well, at first a lot of people would hurt a lot. Then presumably the service industry would see a massive loss of employees. But whether it'd be enough, I'm not sure. Given the US work culture in particular, I constantly hear and read about people working full-time jobs that can't sustain them. They just work multiple full-time jobs because they can't, or think they can't, find anything better and think anything is better than nothing, which of course in return shows employers that there are enough desperate people they can abuse to get away with it. Tipping culture is more of a symptom of systematic failures. Yeah, sure, go to a restaurant and pay for dinner. That'll really stick it to the man. I don't mind tipping waiters, hairdressers, drivers, baristas, etc. I try to pay with cash so I don't get that POS 182,025% or higher option that makes me feel stressed. I just put $1 down in exchange for a coffee or alcoholic drink. And then typically do 20% off haircuts and dinners. Don't let people bully you into tipping more than normal. If people in the industry turn their nose up at 20% tips, they're weird and watching too much TikTok. So your solution to businesses paying starvation wages is to keep patronizing BG the business and starve the workers? Nonsense. Workers need to unionize and demand fair pay. The better route would be to pay the waiter a large tip up front, and then dine and dash on the bill. The proposition of American tipping is that the customer shares the benefits and obligations of employing the worker. It's exploitative and you should boycott the businesses that use it. But if you patronize them and don't tip, you're just a boss refusing to pay a worker. What would happen? People who survive on tips would be evicted, not be able to pay utilities, health insurance and other medical costs, or daycare. The people this sub supposedly champions would suffer. How about we come up with solutions that don't depend on forcing vulnerable workers into battles they may not be ready to fight? Hi, I currently serve. Please don't. Instead, contact your representative and talk to them about changing the tip wage of $2.13. As a single parent returning to college, I would no longer be able to feed and house my son. Edit. My base pay is $11 and my tips average $2,540 an hour. I know posts about tipping generally hate input from actual tipped employees because you despise us a little bit. But what I think would happen is a bit of an exodus due to the high amount of servers and bartenders who are also degree holders. Then, to get employees in, businesses would have to increase salaries. But, in case you've never worked a job before, businesses aren't smart or efficient most times. So small businesses would close down out of stubbornness and bigger places would make do by increasing prices and letting their $42,000 managers suffer through doing the work of 5 people instead of 3 people. As for those of us who decided to change the system by not tipping, you'd probably just go post on our tales from the customer and complain about bad service instead of coming on here to mauled about sometimes having the opportunity to give an extra $5 to a fellow member of the working class. You think they haven't already? The solution is to cook at home and stop buying coffees. Don't patronize their bosses' places of business. Don't punish the workers who would still be forced to serve you. If everyone stopped tipping, the employees would feel the pain first. It would take a really long time for the business to take the financial hit since they are still making their profits. You can avoid tipping, but the restaurants still get your money. All your plan would do is keep workers from being able to make rent and bills. I'd advise not eating out then. Stealing labor and not paying for it isn't going to hurt the owners at all. You can hate America's tipping culture and write to senators and Congress. But as long as the culture is what it is, when you eat out in most places, the bill pays for the food and the tip pays for the service. If you don't tip, you have stolen the server's labor. Get takeout or cook your own food. Just stay home and cook your own meals. You're not entitled to free labor from vulnerable workers. Millions of waitstaff would suffer. If you don't want to pay servers for their labor, at least have the decency to stay home. You don't solve a problem like this by putting the pressure on the party with the least power. This would simply be cruel while providing no benefit. Boycotting the establishment can also negatively affect the worker, of course, but it has a greater effect on the business and doesn't put you in the situation of benefiting from the LA or you're choosing not to pay for. You want to punish working class people? Question mark.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.